What up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pearl Daily. Today we are doing our debate, maybe not debate, panel show on Wednesday, where we invite different YouTubers, content creators to weigh in on a topic, and we even extend it out to the people in the chat so you guys can call in. So a couple announcements. We're gonna test out a later showtime. When I was looking at entertainment and just the different YouTubers, entertainers, it seems like everybody likes the 9 p.m. slot. I've tested a lot of different times on the channel. But if you guys like this time, I kind of want to see if we get a better if we get better callers. Because I think 7 to 9 is when we normally do the show, but I feel like people are doing stuff at that time. So at 9, people are home, unless you're in California, maybe. So I found the clip I was looking for last show, so I'm going to show that first. So as you guys know, I talk about traditional conservative women. So typically, tradcon women go into the industry to marry rich. That's usually their ploy. Now, typically, they're going to claim to be traditional or signal it in some way, maybe. But you'll notice that they exhibit the same behaviors of modern women, because if you're really a traditional woman, you marry your high school or your college sweetheart. You don't keep trying to do better and better and better, right? And typically women, we tend to want more control and leverage, and we keep working even when we have kids and stuff. We're kind of like F them kids. Do you know what I mean? And usually we mouth off on the internet and the rich husbands have to pay for it. So we saw this with Candace Owens, right? Candace Owens married George Farmer, guy worth $300 million. And or 150. He's worth a lot of money, right? And now she gets to mouth off on the internet and he gets to pay for it. It's awesome. Usually when men mouth off on the internet, they accept the consequences. Like Nick, for example, at a gunman, show up at his house. He's also been dragged to court. Alex Jones lost everything. And you just don't see that as much with women, because usually the women will have the men pay for it. And I thought I'd have to how do you say? I found a clip of Brett Cooper admitting exactly this. And I was like, Brett, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. So here we go.
Making significantly more. He's like, if you ever want to stop.
Okay, wait, let me.
He's making significantly.
All right. So now we got the pictures, right? Now, usually the women, what they do is they claim they're not using, they claim they care about family more than anything, right? But then they cover politics. Do you know what I mean? That's like a great way to put your family at risk, right? Then they say, oh, well, just marry a nice guy, and then they always marry rich, right? They say don't marry for money, and then they always marry for money. And then they say I care about my family, while simultaneously using their family to build their brand. Like when men have social media, they usually just post the cool stuff they're doing, like their fish or whatever. When women, they got to use their husband and their kids to signal, I am a good person, I am high status. So that's usually what you see.
More. He's like, if you ever want to stop working completely, I want to be able to let you do that, and we don't have to change our lifestyle. We don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so you're going to see now she has the opportunity to stop working. And we're going to see when the rubber hits the road if she's able to walk away when she has a kid. I don't even think she really should, to be honest. I wouldn't even say that she should. But you have to understand, it's just not traditional. It's not what they're selling, right? It's I want all the benefits. I want the clout from being traditional while doing all of the non-traditional things. I care about my kids, but not enough to walk away from my job, which sacrifices their privacy. Yeah, that's always how it goes.
Anything, and I want to protect you, especially as I've kind of made this whole career.
I care about my kids and my husband, but I'll use them for money on the internet. You know what I mean? It's just,
shift of leaving a situation where I had a W-2 job and I was salaried.
And that's the same thing, right? They go and they make money off of men. So a man will have a company, they'll make money. Then they'll crash out and burn the bridge. We see Brett Cooper did that. She crashed out on her boss, the girl taking her job. Just typical. Then you see Candace Owens do it too. It's just annoying,
Great employee to where I've now jumped to my income is based on basically.
Then, it's like they're the hero and the victim in their own story. So, they always make it sound like they overcame some feat, but their husband's really the one paying for it.
What I put out, I would have been able to do that if it wasn't for his, support and being able to.
There you go. They marry rich and have their husbands pay for it.
Make that happen. I make good money, but my husband.
The average conservative woman marries a guy worth I think it's $4 million. Now, good for you. You played the game and won. But what I get annoyed is I just don't like being gaslit and told that the game isn't the game. That's where I get annoyed. All right. So whenever Doug MPA and I go back and forth before a show, oh my gosh. Hold on, Murray came on the other day and I need to read this tweet because this is a savage. Okay. The Murray system: make 6 figures, use beautiful mids as warm-ups, raw dog always, rotate the roster bi-weekly, aftercare, call her Uber while texting the next one, and your roster over her feelings. All right. Do you know what I mean? It's like, all right. So anyways, back to the topic. So whenever me and Doug MPA are on the phone, we kind of go over what show topics we want to do. And I always know that if me and him are going back and forth, it would make a good topic. So we are going to talk about who are the buyers in the current dating market. So I was having a conversation the other day about the dating market and who really holds the power. A lot of channels. Wait, I don't say that. Hold on. So I don't know. I didn't catch that earlier. All right. So, here. Okay. All right. I was having a conversation the other day, and at one point I would have said that men are the buyers in the dating market, and I thought about using the car analogy to illustrate this. Because I'll hear Myron talk on Fresh and Fit, and he'll say 30-year-old women can't compete with 20-year-old women. And I thought about it, and I just thought that's just simply not true. It's simply not true. I have seen 30-year-old women outcompete 20-year-old women. And that's because the 20-year-old women treat the man like shit, and the 30-year-old woman was nice to him. All things being equal, she'll never win. But I've even seen manosphere guys marry women over 30, women with children. I've seen it, right? And it's not an attack at all. But I liked the analogy. I enjoyed the car analogy because I was thinking about it, and there are luxury cars, right? And there's a big luxury car market, but there's still a huge used car market. And if anything, the used car market at times has had more buyers, right? What's going to have more buyers? The used, the brand new price, or the car with X amount of miles that's 50% off? And I thought that was a decent analogy with women. But I was kind of bouncing. Sometimes when I write or I kind of think through these shows, I like to bounce with the real world. And I was bouncing off of a friend of mine, different friend. And he said, no, men are not the buyers. Women are the buyers. And he said that analogy, it makes it seem like men are the choosers, but really women are choosing us. And I don't have it. So I decided to kind of maybe amend this analogy. And I thought, in a way, men have houses and they make the house like cool. Like maybe they'll have like an offering or like a job posting. But they're not really in control of who applies. And they could give the job to the best applicant, right? But it's kind of a shitty application process. Like the market out there, the people applying are kind of terrible. And I just thought, if men have that much control over who they marry, I think that the women would be younger and hotter. But when I look at the wives, they're old and fat. And I would say there's a small minority of men that maybe are the buyers. This guy actually convinced me of this. He's like, there's a small minority of men who are the buyers, but the majority of men are not the buyers. And I think a reason for this is we're talking about men with frame and regular men. Men with frame are always the buyers that can walk away, but the problem is most men aren't, and women are mistaken about the dualism, making most of them believe that they were in fact the buyers. I'm reading something I was sent. Only because most men turn themselves into the position of the seller by giving away their frame. If the men signing up had control over what they were buying, I would see them with hot young wives, but I see them with old fat ones. So I'm a little bit split. I got to be honest. I'm kind of split on this. But I'm going to start taking the position that women are the buyers. Because out of the arguments I heard, that one seemed the strongest to me. However, I can be swayed. I really can. Like if the 22-year-old women were dying to be married, right? Then I could argue that, the men are the buyers. But it's just not what I see, I see the 22-year-old women banging the guys and not calling them back. Do you know what I mean? There are specific men that have frame, but like if I look at the average guy, right? I don't see most men willing to walk away like ever. I mean, 6 months into a relationship, they're kind of cooked. Like I don't see most men that get married. I see the women successfully nagging them into it, if I'm being honest. Guys are the renters. That might be a better analogy. I'm open to other analogies. So I invited a lot of YouTubers to come on to this, or just people I know. So hopefully at some point they'll join. So let me make sure I sent this out. But for now, I'm gonna put Doug MPA on the screen. Doug MPA, how's it going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
All right. So what's your case? Are men the buyers or the sellers? Or someone said the renters in the chat. Maybe that's a better analogy.
So, as long as men propose and marry, men are the buyers. What happens afterwards is completely different. Because you keep making this thing where, oh yeah, 22-year-old girls, and if men. But here's the thing, more all the data about how little women want to get married is women under 30. I'm in my 40s. I can tell you, a switch flips after 30, and most women want to get married. Feminists.
I think they say that though because they're fat. Like if they really wanted to get married, they wouldn't be fat.
Yeah,
Like,
I understand that.
They don't want
I agree.
to. Go ahead.
I agree. Everything you're gonna say about that, I agree. But feminists' biggest conundrum is that the only thing that they can say, women can do anything a man can do, that they can do it better, but they can't get a man to marry them. Now, are men dumb enough to marry these women? Yes. But you have women who will not approach a man, will not propose to a man. I've got on dates, I dated with some of the most powerful women, surgeons, lawyers, police officers, and they will not propose to a man. If the goal is, see, because I equivocate buying a car in the analogy to marriage. Okay, because when you buy a car, you are making a long-term commitment. You financially, you are legally responsible for that vehicle. You have to do the insurance and the maintenance,
Mhm.
and men don't have to do that until they get they're not legally held responsible for the maintenance of a woman until they get married. If you're talking about relationships and stuff like that, yes, but the car analogy goes towards serious relationship commitment and marriage, and men will be the buyers as long as men have to initiate marriage. At my age, you have plenty of men who've been married and divorced, and they meet women who are finally ready to settle down, but these men will not marry these women. I have friends who will not get married again, ever. So, once again, until women en masse propose to men, men are the buyers because women cannot get married without a man proposing to them and signing that marriage certificate first.
But do they propose usually because they want to or because the woman wants them to?
It doesn't matter either way. They have
I
to do
I
it.
I think it matters. Like, I don't think, like, if you nagged him into doing it, that shows that she has the control.
Yes, yes, but he could not do it too. Plenty of men are nagged into doing it and don't do it too. It's the action. Men initiate marriage. If men don't initiate marriage, women can't have it.
Right,
Therefore, men are the
but women
buyers.
but women initiate the relationship. So it
Yeah.
wouldn't even happen. Like, I think if men had the control that you're saying, the women would be 22 and hot, but they're
n-
not.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if she's 22 or 32 or 42. She can't get a marriage without a man proposing to her. That's my point. The buying is the man proposing to a woman and marrying the woman. That's what buying a car and being a buyer is. That is the
I'm
transaction right there.
actually I think I'm switching on the buyer analogy. I don't think it's good because when you buy something, you own it, and you can't like own a woman without like authority, and you don't have any authority. I think I like the renter analogy.
Yeah, I just met when you when you get to your 30s and your 40s, you meet women who are desperate. It's like they're desperate to be married. They want to know what it's like. They want to try it on and then divorce a guy. They will and remember, I'll add to your little example here. Uh, women women will they can't get access to the men that they want to marry, so
Mhm.
they'll find a guy that they'll settle with. Oh, he's good enough, and then that guy will. He may even know that he's being settled for, but he'll propose anyway because he's either being nagged or he wants to do the right thing or he wants to have children. But
Mhm.
regardless of what's going on, he's the buyer because he initiates marriage.
I still don't think he initiates because she, like, nags him into it. Like,
Yeah, but
I think most wait, let me finish. I think
mm,
most women have the control in the relationship. Like, if most men had the control in their relationship, then I would agree with you. But most women are the ones running the show. You could argue maybe for second marriages, right? But, most guys, if they get married once, like, they're not gonna do it again.
yeah.
So, but like the first time around, like let's just for shits and giggles say first marriages. The women totally run the show. Like they have a time clock in their head before they even meet the guy. Women bang who they want, but very few men meet their irrational expectations. They put up crazy numbers but are less satisfied. Men expectations are low and therefore we're more content. Women are getting action and it's at the expense of their sanity. I agree with you.
I
I like the lease. I might have to switch. Like, I feel like men, I kind of like the job application analogy. I think this might be better. And if you guys have a better analogy, you should call in and let me know. But I think I prefer the job application. And sometimes the applicants are just terrible. Yeah. And it's like, do you know what it's like? What's it called when the market's like in the applicant's favor when there's a shortage? There's a job shortage or no,
Yes. Mhm.
whatever it is. So yeah, like they
There's
they
a job surplus. That's what it is.
yeah, and so it's like when they get the applications, the men are just like fine.
Well, I'm gonna bring another wrinkle to this whole thing.
Okay.
Single mothers, guys are finally starting to wake up and not guys. Don't date single mothers. Don't sleep with them. Don't date them. Don't marry them. Leave them alone. And you're starting to see single mothers crash out because men aren't even touching them, right? These women can't even get a relationship, and men. Let's say you're a single mother out there, and you have a kid and a guy wants to date you, but he says, "I can't marry you because you have a kid because I don't want to be legally responsible for your child. I don't want to pay child support." She can't be bought and taken off the market. Remember, when a car is bought, it's taken off the market. A guy will not take a single mother off the market,
Oh yes,
and there's
they will.
nothing she can do about it.
They're taking porn stars off the market.
Yeah, but I'd rather take I mean,
Okay, I'm gonna bring up BPJ. BPJ. This was a very good point in the chat. He's on my side, I think. My initial side. I am a little wishy-washy on this one, so I can be swayed. But BP, go ahead.
Yeah, how y'all doing? The issue with the whole, and I hope y'all can hear me. I'm on the freeway.
yeah,
The issue
you're
with
good.
this whole, okay, the issue with the whole notion of, oh, well, the man has to initiate. Well, advertisers initiate, but it's the customers who buy, right? If we're
What?
saying
Yeah.
that, can you guys hear me?
I know I can hear
Yeah.
you. Keep going.
Okay.
Finish the point.
Yeah, I was just saying that we always, like, a lot of guys kind of cope and say shit like, oh, excuse me, and say stuff like, oh, women initiate sex, but men initiate relationships. I don't think that's true. Women initiate sex and relationships, and the same goes for marriage. You have a lot of women, especially black women, who will deny and reject marriage proposals all the time. Even women who are 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, they have plenty of men, even if they're average looking, who want to marry them. They just don't want to marry those men. Your average 30-year-old woman has more men on deck who are willing to marry them than your average 30-year-old man who has women who are willing to marry them. Right or wrong?
What I'm saying is
Yeah, I agree.
it,
Go
a
ahead.
marriage proposal has to happen first for her to reject the proposal, and a marriage proposal has to happen first for her to say yes. She can't say yes or no to a question that's never been asked. That's what you people aren't
Right,
understanding.
but that doesn't make them the okay. So let's just
Yes,
say you're
it
correct.
does, because
That
it doesn't
doesn't
exist
Let it
without
finish.
them.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh
that
my
doesn't
God.
make them the buyer.
Yes, it does.
How? Okay, so if I'm selling you something, I'm the advertiser. I am selling you this product. I am initiating the process, the transaction here. Who's the buyer, me or you?
A woman has to be taken off the
Well,
market.
come on now.
A woman has to be taken off the market, right?
Wait. But I asked you
And a
something
man
really,
takes her
really.
off the market.
Hold on, but I asked you something really simple. I have a product. I'm going to you to sell the product,
Yes.
and I'm coming to you. Do you
And I
want
have
to
to
buy
buy
the
the
product?
product
Wait.
from the seller.
Wait. I'm asking, between me or you, who is the buyer?
I have to buy the product you're selling. So
Yes.
I'm the buyer.
Yes. So in this case, the
So I
woman
make you
is
an
the
offer.
buyer.
I make you an offer for your product.
Yes.
Yes. So therefore, I'm the buyer. I'm the proposal
It's really
is
simple.
the offer, and the
No,
woman
but
says yes or
no,
no.
but he's saying like if women
Am I
have 10, but
crazy here?
if women have 10 guys that are like trying to marry them, then the woman becomes the buyer.
No, all of them have to give her an offer first.
Okay, so here's the issue with what it is that you're saying. If you're talking about your average looking, so let me ask you this question. Your average 30-year-old woman, does the average 30-year-old woman have at least 2 or 3 men who want to be in relationships with them? Yes or no?
Is she? Well, I mean, nowadays, maybe no.
Okay,
25,
so
22, yes.
I would say yes.
is it yes or no?
I would say
I-
most women have 2 or 3 guys in the friend zone.
Yeah.
Even
So
I would even say that at 35.
yeah,
So,
I would too. But let's
yeah.
just say 32 to let's just keep it fair and say 30. So here's the issue. Your average, let's look at your average 30-year-old woman versus your average 30-year-old man. Your average 30-year-old woman has at least 2 or 3 men, probably more than that, right? Because guess what? An average white woman can go to Blackville and have a lot more than that. But let's just keep it all simple, right? Right? Let's just be honest. So your average 30-year-old woman has at least 2 or 3 men who are willing to be in a relationship with them. And guess what, sir? I would say that 1 or 2 of those men would marry them. Want to know why that man would marry them? Watch this, Pearl. The reason why that man would marry her is because to that man, that's pretty much the best looking woman that he could get. That's why he would marry her.
There is a chance that all 3 of those men could not propose ever, and then she
Okay,
has
so
nothing.
okay, so let me actually you keep on you're talking about possibility. I'm talking about probability. That's the problem.
But what I'm
Oh, wait.
saying,
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, Doug. Go ahead. I'm listening.
what I'm saying is, here's the thing: you're not understanding about the proposal itself. Because I'm in my 40s, man. I'm surrounded by men who were married once and will never marry again, and all they encounter is women who are desperate to get married, and these men will never give it to them ever.
I'm not
And so what
wait, okay,
happens is,
you're talking about
situation,
men who but you're talking about men who've already been married before. Let's
yeah,
talk about
you can
again.
put them in this. I'm putting
Let's
them in the scenario. Yes, 100%. Women can't get married, which is most women's ultimate goal. Still, especially in their 30s and 40s, without men offering marriage first. That's all I'm saying. They can't achieve that status without a man proposing. Yes, men are simps. Yes, men will marry a 2. Yes, but none of them can get married without a man getting down on one knee and
obviously, but
getting
what I'm
married.
saying
Okay.
is but
I'm going to
here's
let
the
him go
issue.
now. Go
I'm
ahead.
talking about your average 30-year-old man, your average 30-year-old woman. If you have an average 30-year-old woman, she has men on deck who want to be in a relationship with her, and de facto, a man willing to marry them. They do. Whether or not that woman wants to be in a relationship with that man is up to her. You know why? Because she is the buyer.
So
Okay.
what do you have to say about his point where they may not propose if they date her? What do you have to say about that point?
Well, he's talking about men, and I hope y'all can hear me. I'm in the mountains
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Well, Well, you keep on referring to men who were already married. If
No,
I'm your
I'm talking about both.
No, like Doug, you gotta let him finish. Let him go. I'll let you go
okay,
too, but I want to hear
Go
what
ahead.
okay,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, all good. So what I'm saying is that if you're talking about your average 30-year-old man, and he is with a woman who he believes is a catch, because again, the average man hasn't been with that many women. More than likely, if things are just going okay, more than likely he would marry her.
I agree.
Yes,
I'm not talking about, again, you're talking about, well,
it's
what if he
still
doesn't
up
marry?
to
Wait,
him,
hold on,
though.
hold on. You keep on going to,
Am I
well, what if he
crazy
doesn't
here?
marry her? I'm talking about more than likely if he, okay, I need you to think about this really quickly. Your average man, does the average man get consistent sex? The answer is no. So he's in a relationship with a mid, which to him is about an 8 or a 7, and he's getting consistent sex from an 8 or a 7. He's going to marry that woman. Case closed.
See, I think in the current day, the average man, especially 30 and under, because remember, men have had a voice on YouTube for 10 years at least, right? I think the average man is really starting to weigh his options and isn't as willing to jump into a legally binding contract that'll hamstring him later on in life. All 30-year-old men have an uncle or or their dad or something who got crushed in divorce court. I think we're going to see more 30-year. I'm putting more stock in um the average man, that he now more than ever, he won't be simped into walking into a marriage even if he isn't getting sex. We see the stats about neats, and all these men who refuse to grow up, and the crisis of young men who aren't. Men are actually weighing the consequences of marriage like like no other time. So I think that even if a man is not getting sex, he will weigh the benefits of getting married. Men aren't just some are.
I think the second time, but not the first time.
Oh,
Maybe you could argue the second time, but the first time
Also, what you need to
they get a
factor,
half decent looking punani and they're like on their knees.
yeah. Also, what you have to factor in is that most men don't learn from other people's mistakes like that. Like they don't. So even if what you're saying is true, they're not looking at their uncle and saying to themselves, "That's going to be me." And plus, again, most 30-year-old men don't have an empire to ruin like that. They don't. They're not like I'm gonna land with this. If an average 30-year-old man is getting consistent sex, he is going to do what he can to keep that consistent sex aflowing. Right or wrong?
see,
That's true.
I don't. You know what? With the frequency that men are
Wait,
staying at home.
But
Hold
answer
on,
that
hold on.
question first.
You know what? I'm to the point now where 30-year-old men and under, they're not slaves to sex like my generation was.
They don't get it.
Yeah.
Dude, you're coping.
No, I'm not. I'm not,
dude,
because how many stories have you seen of men staying at home playing video games? Men are
because they
addicted
they don't have the option. Wait,
and
are
you
you
know what?
serious?
A
They
lot
don't
of
have the
men,
option.
are becoming perfectly fine with it, and they're
They're
disengaging.
not
I'm seeing,
perfectly
yes,
fine.
they are. They
Well,
have to be.
here's
Dude,
the
you're
problem.
coping.
Here's,
You're
well,
coping.
here's what I
I'm
was
not
saying, though.
coping.
Here's the problem is then they get a
I
little
mentored.
they
I
get a
mentored
little
young men under
they,
30 for freaking 7 years. I
they
know these guys. You
I
haven't.
know, but they get a little female attention and they always fold. I learned roulette wheel. I learned from my uncles and my cousins were destroyed
go
by
ahead.
bad marriages. Don't you think the average man has many other options? Not really, sadly enough. But this is a great back and forth. I'm very entertained by this, so thank you guys. I'm going to bring up Reclaim Your Throne, and I'm also going to bring up Osmosis. But Osmosis, you had the YouTube in the background playing last time I tried to bring you up, so make sure you turn it off. Nope, it's still going. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I need you to mute whatever you got going on. And then I'm gonna bring Jay. Oh, I don't see anybody there.
Hey, what's up? I'm here. I just don't have a picture up.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, guys. So the question today, I don't know if you heard my monologue, but I'm kind of going back and forth on what I think. So I was hoping to bring people on to debate it out. Who is the buyer when it comes to marriage? Is it men or women? We could argue, there's one argument that's been said that men are the buyers because they're the ones that propose. The other argument is that men are so sex starved and there's so many simps that women are the buyers. I'm condensing them. But give your thoughts. And if you guys want to, we do need to let people finish their argument. So if you first 10, 15 seconds, someone's talking, let them finish. If they don't land the plane, you guys feel free to go back and forth a little bit about your thoughts. But Reclaim, why don't you go first?
Okay. So I like to kind of think of it in real estate terms, and I think of it as like a buyer's market and a seller's market, and the genders can interchange between those. So what I mean by that is essentially, if the leverage is in women's hands as far as society goes, like it is now, then I believe the women are, essentially the buyers, because they're actually being more picky and it's a buyer's market. So, they are able to select what they want when it comes to maybe not necessarily what they want, but they are able to select a man at the end of the day and they're able to land somewhere. Whereas like if it was a seller's market, then the man could pretty much get whatever type of girl that he likes. And honestly, that's not happening right now. So I think the leverage is in women's hands with marriage and with divorce. So it kind of allows them to be more picky and more choosy, and they're able to kind of navigate the dating market a little easier when it comes to matching up with somebody. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to stay with them or whatnot, but I think just the influx of options that women have, there's plenty of guys willing to, propose to her and marry her, even if they're not necessarily the guy that she wants, she's able to land somewhere and still get a good deal.
Great. Doug MPA, because you were kind of more on the other side. So what do you think about that?
Women cannot get married unless a man proposes first. There are plenty of women in situationships. All we hear in the black communities, situationships, no labels, no labels. When the two biggest superpowers a man has is his ability to walk away and his ability to determine who his girlfriend, fiance, and wife is. The first thing women do will try to take those two powers away from you. Men are waking up. There are women, especially in my age, in my 40s and 30s, who who they may settle for a guy, but the men they want will not propose to them. Men have to, and once again, like I said earlier, I dated some of the most powerful women, surgeons, doctors, lawyers, and they can't get a man to marry them. Feminists' biggest conundrum right now is, oh, women can do anything a man can do, even better, but they can't get a man to marry them. Men have to settle, but women have to settle too. But women cannot get married without a man initiating it.
Okay.
So
Reclaim.
men are the buyers.
Okay.
I think
Reclaim, do you have any rebuttal to that? And then I'll let the next person go. But I thought
Yeah,
that'd be a
so
back and forth. Go ahead.
when it comes to what he's saying as far as women can't get married unless a man proposes, yeah, that's true. But the reality is any man is willing to propose nowadays. Like, men are giving up their commitment a lot easier. Not only are they giving up their commitment, but they're also giving up their money a lot easier. We have a simp culture. So, you know, that's where you'll see guys in the comments willing, like, yeah, I'll empty my bank account out for you, or I'll do this for you. So these guys are pretty much acquiescing to what women want. That's why they're able to monetize their beauty, you know, in such a way that I mean, we've never seen before. And then them also having control of, or at least as, you know, a slight degree more of control of how they market themselves online. You know, I just think that it's a lot easier for these women. Maybe they may not get the perfect guy that they want, but like I said, they'll always be able to land on their feet. There will always be a simp waiting at the end of the line. And, you know, she might be dating the Chad guy and you know, he might have his shit together and she might want him to commit and he may not commit, but she could still get with a guy who's less attractive, who got the same amount of money, but he's willing to commit. So, and then she's still gonna, you know, get laid by the Chad guy anyway during the marriage. So it's like they're able to have their cake and eat it too. And, you know, you might see this epidemic of women not getting married more. And honestly, that's because they're making the choice to in their youth. Now, in their older age, they might want to settle down for financial reasons. But if they could still get the same attention from men in their older age as they did in their 20s, they wouldn't want to settle down.
Exactly.
I'm going to let Doug MPA, I'll give you a rebuttal to that if you have anything you want to add.
I mean,
but otherwise, I'm going to go to the next person. Go ahead.
You know, Reclaim the Throne, he's making good observations about the market. And I can't even, yes, women will want to settle down later. Yes, she's going to have to settle. But like, it just still doesn't get past the point that like men have to. In fact, it's even worse for single mothers. Stepdaddy season is over. More men are leaving single mothers alone, and then women will find a simp to marry, divorce him 8 years later, and then be single and be trying to get married again. And then she's really screwed. The point is, women are always going to meet the barrier of giving of the man that they want having to propose to them to be that man's wife. If a man doesn't do it, she can't be that.
Yeah, but I just think if he doesn't, someone else will. I've
Right.
seen.
Yeah. So there's always another simp.
Can I?
Like, there's always another simp out there. Like,
I was gonna say,
it's not like one simp exists for that girl. Like, let me put it like this: an ugly girl has as many options as like a Leonardo DiCaprio guy has in terms of just guys to get laid with.
Yeah.
How can we keep on doing this thing? Here's and here's how I know. I'm not saying that y'all are coping necessarily. I mean, kind of, I guess I am. Why do we keep saying, well, she can't get married by the guy that she wants? We don't say that about the guy. Wait. We don't say, wait.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is like who women want is different every day. It's like she could get the guy she wants, and then she won't want him next year.
Yeah, like,
right.
I think women only get the only time that
I'm gonna let. Sorry, I did interrupt him, so I'm gonna let him finish.
I was going to say just real quick.
The only time the girl is with a guy that like is the guy she truly ever wanted is when like the guy dies or whatever and he's no longer there. The guy's around, like,
that's true. You can say that.
Anymore. You look at Jada and Tupac. Tupac's the example because Tupac is now dead. Every guy that like falls into the category of the woman's dream girl is dead.
Bro,
guys are so much funnier than women.
Yeah, he got it, man. He got it. Good job.
Sorry. What was that? Nick in the corner or no? Who's in the? I need the screen. Oh, BPJ. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, all good. I was just gonna say we always go when we're talking about this whole who has more leverage, who's a buyer to seller. We always say for the women, they're not marrying the men that they want, but what about the man? If you take your average man does not have any options. He doesn't. Wait. Okay. Go ahead. What was you going to rebut?
Let him easier, and when they get a woman that's cooler in terms of like personality, the looks a little bit can go a little bit. Like if a person is like a 7.5, but she's like a really cool chick, a lot of guys will take that over.
Right. That's what. Yeah. So
headache the entire time.
Right. Okay. So just real quick.
Hey, you gotta let him finish. Okay.
Just really quick. So what we often do is we say, okay, the woman she can't get what the man if she wants, but again, we forget about the average man. The average man, you guys, don't have any options. Your average man has to fight for dates, fight for numbers, fight for whatever scraps of female attention, whatever it is that he can get. We sometimes we forget that in this conversation, right? So ultimately, between your average men and your average woman, and you put them together, the woman absolutely, without question, has the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
The woman is more times than not. Hold on, wait.
The average guy.
Let me land. More times than not, the woman is looking at him like, can I possibly do better? She is assessing his offer. What's weird about this analogy is you guys keep saying, well, without the initiating, there wouldn't be like, well, you can say the same about it again, an advertiser, again, buyer and seller. So ultimately, I think he left, or somebody left. So ultimately, the women are assessing the options that they have on the table, and they're seeing, between these men, who could I get into a relationship with? Most women walk around. The reason why they're so entitled, the reason why they're so overconfident is because they know no matter what they do, they will always have good men to be in relationships with. The same cannot be said for your average man. And I'll land right there.
My aunt got married at 50 to a guy
I mean,
sorry. I'm going to read the super chat, then you can go. Okay. Men are content without marriage. Men live in bliss, dating a new woman every 3 months, hence the baby daddy epidemic. Women require marriage to be happy. They require it to be fulfilled. It's the status, the lifestyle, and the urge to compare themselves that drives this need. I used to think that, but I don't. I think women are just unhappy regardless. So they could be married. They could have, it's just, if they're unhappy, it'll be regardless. But go ahead, Reclaim.
Yeah. So I like to think of it in terms of who likes who more. And in my opinion, it's obvious that men like women more in today's society. In relationship context, anybody who's in a relationship, especially a lot of men nowadays, you don't really see a lot of men leading these relationships. You see a lot of men deferring to their wives. Even if they're a super masculine guy, they're still deferring to their wives. And, you'll see these big time CEOs who built business and all this kind of stuff. And then they'll give a speech deferring to their wife, say, yeah, I wouldn't be anything. And this woman is the one who kept me in line and made sure that I did this and did that. Even if it's not true, they're still going to defer to the wife. So you can just see it in the way that men behave in society and the way that women are able to monetize their sexuality and their beauty, you can see who likes who more. And it's obvious that men like women more in today's society. I mean, we have so many
I agree.
examples like the man and the bear, or, different examples like this. So, you have to think about it from that context. And then when you think about it like that, that's why, in the red vitamin, we say, the woman has to like the man more for the relationship to actually work. Because if the man likes the woman more, then, she's going to look down upon him, because she's like, oh, well, I mean, you're over here sipping over me, and this is what just guys just do. So you have to be that's why, the red vitamin guys are able to sustain relationships longer if they want to, because they're making it so that the woman likes them more versus the man liking the woman more in the relationship. And in today's society, in most relationships, the man definitely likes the women more. I mean, growing up, it was the men who were ready to settle down and start families earlier than the women. And that's just what I've observed.
So we have two new panelists. Welcome to the show, Sean, and welcome, Leonarda. Thanks for coming today.
It's good.
Thanks for having me on. I agree with who was it that was just talking?
That was Reclaim. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's pretty much on the money on that. He's correct. You do have to get the woman to like you more, because otherwise she's going to think you're a simp and she's going to disrespect you. I know, because I'm said woman. So
what do you think about, who do you think's in control of marriage? Is it who are the buyers in the current dating market, men or women, when it comes to marriage?
Oh, that's tough. I think it depends on the men and it depends on the women. Women are doing this thing right now where they really think they don't need a man. Well, they're saying they don't need a man. So I think right now women have been psychologized against their own instincts and their own nature. And they're doing things that if you could get them to like be unbrainwashed for a second, they would admit is the opposite of what they want. They would admit that what they really want is somebody to wife them up, for them to be secure, for them to have kids, that whole thing, to not go to work.
I don't think so. We aborted a third of Gen Z.
Yeah, that's proof of what I'm saying. When has it ever been the case that women, mothers, would kill their own children over and above themselves? I mean, historically,
when they got freedom, when they got the freedom to make the choice that they wanted to do.
Yeah, they found like 100 babies in like under a nun.
A nunnery in Ireland. Yep.
Yeah, this is what they want to do.
Wait, hold on. Are you guys talking about the Canada thing or the Ireland thing?
Well, I mean, they found bones in bathhouses in Greece.
Okay, so the
I studied this
Canada
topic
thing
a
was
lot.
a total hoax.
Women are always killing their kids, always. Even in like the 1800s, it wasn't abnormal. I don't think it's a coincidence the infant mortality rate is really similar to the abortion rate today.
You read the super chat, bro?
Yeah. So women are the sellers. This is a straight option to buy contract. The woman gives the man the exclusive right dating, but not the obligation to purchase, wipe up for a specified price within a set time.
Thank you, Zachary. Thank you very much.
I know. Sorry.
Thank you.
But sorry. Yeah. I don't know. I always hear that women are brainwashed. I don't think so. I think it's like,
yeah,
you got to take accountability for the choices you make. So I think women do.
I'm gonna disagree wholeheartedly, because I come from, seeing the women of like, so I'm like a first generation American, but last generation's Albanians were like in the 1800s, because they were back in that time period based on culture and everything. And you didn't have this kind of behavior with women towards their children. When you did, that person would stand out as contrary to the norm, and everybody would really shun that person, like, wow, they're just a horrible mother, like this isn't the norm. So fast forward to where we are with modern times, which I think everybody's brainwashed actually right now, both men and women. They just have different programming. women now have some retarded idea that liberation means selling yourself into sex slavery or giving it away for nothing and being like, I'm free. That's a complete antithesis. Any woman who had any sense about the way the sexual marketplace works would never do that. That's like having a brand new car and letting 10 people drive it without having to do anything except fill the gas
I
and
disagree.
then looking for a buyer.
Yeah.
I
Totally
disagree.
opposite.
Go ahead,
But,
Reclaim. What's your
I
rebuttal?
just
okay.
And then and then Sean, I'm gonna let Reclaim go, and then
I
Sean, I'll have you
I
go.
just think the default programming for women is prostitution. Exchange sex, exchange.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead. Oh, did he?
Well,
Uh-oh.
I come from a totally different, I guess,
I
culture of
don't think
women.
so. I think women, there's no incentive for women to be honest about being whores. So I think it's really easy to like for women to say, "Oh, we were so different," but it's like you
Oh
guys,
no.
they didn't have
Mm-mm.
social
Yeah,
media.
that's cap. Yeah,
When,
that's cap.
listen, when you lived in
The
when you lived in a
chastity,
village,
chastity.
And
when
like,
when you
and
lived in a village, everybody knew what you were doing.
Leonardo,
Everybody
hold on,
knew
go
who the
on.
whores were.
yeah,
Leonardo, hold on.
yeah.
Pearl, go ahead. Go ahead, Pearl.
Yeah,
Go
but
ahead.
the problem is as soon as they got smartphones and they got the opportunity, they said, "Let us be whores."
That
I
ain't the
think
problem.
yeah, go
Sean, go ahead.
No, I was
go
gonna
ahead,
say
Sean.
that ain't
Sean.
the problem. 'Cause, I mean, I get it. That's how you feel. That's cool. But chastity belts existed for a reason. If girls were keeping the coochie locked up, then they wouldn't have had to create the technology to put a lock on the girl's box in order to make sure that didn't happen. So that's cap. Now, also to what I would say to the thing, the buyer and seller, it depends because sometimes the market is a seller market and sometimes it's a buyer's market. But what I would say is that women have a lot of unattractive deals, a lot of unattractive deals. They determine if it's attractive or unattractive. Now, men have a little bit of unattractive deals. And so the demand is in their favor, of course. So they have a more demand. And I would say if we had to call somebody a buyer and a seller, I would say men are the sellers. And they're not in the power position. It's a buyer's market. They're in the sellers because men sell themselves. They say, hey, here's my resume. Here's my profile. Most of the time, women say, I am the table, period. So they don't make a much of a listing of what they provide in the marketplace. Men come and say, hey, I work for Google. I have an equity compensation plan. Hey, I go to the gym. I'm a Christian. And so most men, they put down their listing, they say they market themselves, and then they try to get the partner. So I would say the deal and the terms favor women mostly, and we see that throughout society. Hence why even men, when they win and they get a deal, they say happy wife, happy life. And so they always, you know, just concede to the women. So yes, women are in the power. Now I get what you were saying, Doug. So shout outs to you. You're just like, hell no, I ain't signing a deal. Yeah, you're just a rare man. All right. Most men are one blowjob away from a plantation.
It's true. You know what? I deal with a lot of people that talk shit on the internet. You know what I mean? And I've seen them all fold.
All food.
I've seen so many, so it doesn't
And
really
then,
mean
like you said, the guys are just
much.
like, well, they've just been tricked by reptilians and the Illuminati. No, they haven't. Women haven't been tricked by the reptilians, the Illuminati, and the New World Order. They
Exactly.
are the New World
I
Order. They
Women,
are the reptilians.
They're
women
going to factory
Oh,
defaults.
hold on,
I'm
hold on,
gonna
hold on.
They
disagree
Pearl,
just
with
want.
both of you
Pearl, go ahead.
guys.
Hold
They're
on,
going
everyone.
to
Hold on,
factory
hold on,
That's
hold
defaults.
on,
okay.
hold on, hold on. Pearl, go ahead.
women just love being whores. And they
Yep,
tell you this. It's not I think the
exactly.
worst thing that like we do is we don't believe women. Like when they'll do OnlyFans, I've interviewed a lot of these women. They're not traumatized. They're not broken. Most of them come from two-parent homes, to be honest. They just love having sex on camera. It's the excitement and the thrill of like being in front of the camera.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
girls who do OnlyFans like being whores. Yeah, that's called the selective sample size. Like 100%.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
It's not
but
just the girls who do only. Wait, wait.
10% of
okay.
girls
Okay,
between
let's
18 and
I mean
21
let's
are doing OF.
yeah, and let's be real. Like who here was going to be a virgin on their wedding day? None of us.
Okay.
But no, but
Uh,
she's miscategorizing. It's
Yeah,
not just
go
the
ahead.
girls on
Tamika.
OnlyFans. Here's what most guys understand who actually date women. most women that you come across that you date, and especially if they're like a 6 and above, more than likely they have footage of them having sex on a Chad or a Tyrone's phone.
Oh yeah.
Guaranteed.
That's 100%
Wait, wait,
true.
wait.
100% true.
Guaranteed. No, listen,
Yep.
listen. Most of these women, hold on. Most of these women, they have, if especially if they're over the age of like 25, 26, 27, they have footage, whether it's an ex-boyfriend, whether it's a guy that they were sleeping with on occasion. I would say the majority of them have. So all and what happens with women who have OnlyFans? Want to know why a lot of women get OnlyFans? Because they look at all their sex videos and it's like, hey, I have all these sex videos that are
I might as well
old.
make money off of them.
Right.
Yeah. People calling me a hoe anyway when I post a bikini pic, so I might as well
I just
make
don't.
money off it.
I don't see women going to college and being brainwashed. I see them. Yay! I can't wait to be a whore. You know what I mean? It's like they might not like the consequences. Boring, but I just think they're there to have fun.
Yeah, it's the
Pearl,
consequences of being judged that they don't like, the judgment. But if it were up to them and they weren't judged for the actions they were making in the whoredom lifestyle, then they would enjoy it just fine and there wouldn't be any issue. This is why you see 30% of women on college campuses on sugar daddy dating sites like Seeking Arrangement. Like they're looking for that type of quick, easy money hookup. Exchange beauty or sex or purity or whatever you want to call it for goods and services.
and
And
and,
I
and
think
as
you
a
guys
as
been
a as
dealing
a
with some real bottom of the barrel women, to tell you
No,
the
these
truth.
are
real out
college.
here,
These are
Leonardo.
college
just people.
educated women.
It's
I
real out
just
here.
gave
But
you the
college
statistic.
doesn't mean shit, man. People are coming
These
out
are
with
just people, though.
degrees about how smells are racist. College doesn't mean crap. It's
Yeah,
a
but I mean,
bullshit.
I've
it's
interviewed.
still it's still a
I've interviewed
Hold on, go ahead.
I've interviewed 1,000 women from tradition. Yeah, I've interviewed women from China, Germany, Brazil, Africa,
Russia,
Nigeria.
Africa, yeah.
I've
it's worse in
I've
third
done
world.
small town America. I've gone to like small town America, done interviews there. The answers are the same. They all want to go to college. They all get
Exactly.
married after the age of 25. And even the women that signal purity, so they might say, "Oh, I am pure." We didn't do that. They all got married after 25. If you were pure, you would have married at 21, but you didn't. So it's like,
Well, I
yeah.
didn't, lose my virginity until I was 25, and that was to my husband. So you're wrong on a
Well,
lot of
yeah,
these
but
fronts.
that's
When was
no,
that in
but that's
1997?
Yep. 1997, but I think you guys are dealing with some real bottom of the barrel
no.
hoes.
No,
It's
and
real out here.
even the virgins, they
That's
always do.
Take
grass.
what you
They always,
want.
even the virgins, they always do oral or something. It's like a get out of jail free card. You can catch chlamydia. And I'm not saying you, but like in general, it's like if you really ask them the questions about if they're virgins, they usually got fingered. They usually did oral. They usually did other stuff. And it's like,
Okay,
Do
but
you
this
have
wasn't
kids?
going on. This was not going on
yes.
on this massive scale before the advent of feminism, and then this
Still
push
looks cool.
Yeah,
towards
that's
the
because men had
normalization.
were ruling over women with an iron fist. Like you couldn't do that shit.
Well, it's
You
You
have
not.
to
It
couldn't do
wasn't
rule.
it.
feminism.
Wait,
Hold
wait,
on.
wait. You gotta hold
There
on.
were
You gotta
rules.
rule over them to keep them from being whores. Is that what you're saying?
It
Yes,
wasn't
every
Yeah.
Yes,
feminism.
major
It was
religious
the
text
internet.
does
they
that.
had the authority
So
and
what?
they
So
had
then, so all right. So this goes back to you guys. It's all your fault now.
Well,
I
Yeah,
no.
mean,
okay.
yeah,
Well,
the
I'll
simp men
accept
gave them
accountability, but
the freedom
it was. But here's what
and
you
the
can't
political
do.
influence.
Well, you guys
Here's what
should
you.
just start slapping
Guys,
bitches again.
we need
Well,
one
here's what
mic.
you can't do.
One mic, please. One mic.
I'm gonna go down to
Sean?
go ahead.
What's
Sean,
that?
go ahead.
I just dropped a
Oh,
couple of
okay.
people so the
Do
conversation flowed a
do
little
you
better. Go
do you
ahead.
have a son though? Whatever your name is.
Leonardo.
No, I don't.
Okay, so you don't have no kids?
Nope.
Well, I mean, if you ask like a lot of these women who got married, 20 years ago, I guarantee you have sons, let them get a little older and then ask your sons how dating is. And I
Yeah.
guarantee they're
Well,
going to
I
tell you the
do.
same thing.
I have a younger brother that I know he tells me what it's like. It is rough out there for them. But I 100% think I think we're living in a feminist tyranny
Yeah.
where women are given every fucking privilege, no responsibility. They are simultaneously boss bitches, but also can't be held accountable for anything. Nothing's ever their fault. So we're in a total feminist tyranny. So the pendulum has swung to the max on the other side, and I think
Okay.
that's completely
But
unhealthy.
but you
Right,
know,
right.
but in a
But
way,
Hold
you're
on, Pearl,
doing
go
this.
ahead.
You're doing the same thing when you're saying that women are brainwashed instead of holding
yeah,
them accountable for what we choose. Because
yeah.
you're taking
If
away.
I
You're
say
saying it's not
somebody's
their fault.
brainwashed, I still that does to me that doesn't let people off the hook because I think it's our job to wake up from that. Do
Okay.
I think some women just like being whores? Sure, absolutely. Do I think it would be this widespread epidemic? I think a lot of people in general would do whatever they can get away with, both men and
Yeah,
women.
but
And
imagine if you had a guy and you said you were brainwashed into stealing. You were brainwashed into being a pedo. Like it's a double standard. When women do
I think you
something
could be
negative,
brainwashed into being gay. So there's that.
I don't
Yeah, but you ain't giving
Hey,
them no grace
hey,
in the dating market, though. And here's the thing, like when it comes to women making choices, they're never held accountable. And you were trying to say, oh well, you're talking the bottom of the barrel women. No, we're not. Like Pearl says, she's talked to thousands of women, and then we're experiencing, thousands of women. If you go outside, every once in a while, we're experiencing that. And if you're in the dating market, you're seeing the same trends go on and on. This is why this space has gotten so big, is because we've been seeing the same trends over and over again. And it's not with bottom of the barrel women. It's with women who have jobs, good jobs,
all the way at
women
the
who
top
have
and the
degrees,
bottom.
women who come from two-parent homes, women who come from the church. It's almost like the where'd you find them argument. Like, where'd you find them? Where are you finding these girls? Outside.
I'm
Well, do
gonna
you know what's
Yeah.
crazy?
Pearl.
My grandma, who's one of, she had 9 kids, and I asked her because she kind of lived through she died, but before she did, I asked her like why she thought everyone got divorced. And she was from small town, middle of nowhere, and she said all the women wanted to sleep around because birth control, and they could. So she said she saw a difference like after birth control got invented because they got the ability to be whores, basically. And half of them, even the women of that age group, like my grandparents were separated when they died. Like most of them were separated when like they passed away. Like
Well,
the like 80, like I think she would have been in like the 80-year-old group or 90 if she was still alive.
there's a couple
Roulette Hill, here's a super
big
chat from
dollar
an
super
average
chats,
man. Oh, Roulette, thank you for the $100 super chat. Here's a
and then
super
go up
chat
to.
from an average man with no options. Well, somebody's got to be it.
Well, read the
Did I?
other ones too, please.
I think I read them, but I'm not
No,
sure. Are you sure? I read the
yeah, yeah.
100 and the $50 one. Was there
Oh,
another
did
one?
you? I
Yeah,
think there's
saying
another one.
saying social engineering brainwashing isn't real is the denial that we can effectively improve our culture. It's defeatist and truly a failing ideology. Men should not accept it and fight to change society back. We have the real power. I don't think men have any power, to be honest. You could
Right.
argue that as a collective they do, but like if they did what she said, which is start slapping women, then they go to jail. So like what power
Yeah,
do
I
you
was being
have?
facetious,
I know,
obviously.
I know you're kidding. I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah, I mean there are no reins on women nowadays. Like there's no reins on them, so you can't really reel them back in. And people might make the excuse of brainwashing, but in this day and age, in 2025, you choose what you consume. So even if you had the least strict parents coming up, I mean, what are you really getting exposed to? Like you're choosing what you consume going up, and you gravitate to what you're attracted to. So ultimately, these women are making their own choices based off of where society is, where other women are, and then what their heart desires are. And it just so happens that a majority of these women out here have the same desires.
But hold on, have you guys had casual affairs and hookups and stuff? The men in here.
Of course.
Of
Yeah, we're men
course.
though. We're
Okay.
men though.
Yeah, no, I
I'm a
got you,
Chad
but
Vern.
I
Of
I got
course I
you.
have.
I got you. This
Wait,
means
I want to take a
you
second. I
are
want to
part
read.
of.
I'm going to read a super chat and then you can go. Social engineering is real. Brainwashing. Thank you, Eric Perez. Finish your statement. Go ahead.
So you are out there, defiling some other guy's woman, right? So you guys want to talk about collective action. All right, the women are
Definitely,
whores
yeah.
and they're never going to stop being whores, right? Okay, why don't all the men decide, hey, we're going to stop fucking each other's future wives and let these bitches have to deal with just getting one husband and that's it? Why don't
Are
we all
you
do that?
religious?
They're gonna,
Well,
because these women are gonna fuck somebody anyway. If it's
Yeah,
not,
Well,
they'll
I
do
am
and
I
they'll
am
do
and
it with
there's
the
religious
not enough
dogs or the
and
men to
horses.
match the women. There's
Sean,
not
go
enough
ahead.
men to match
Sean,
the women.
Sean's been waiting. Sean, go ahead.
yeah, sorry,
Go ahead,
sorry, go
Sean.
ahead.
Yeah, they'll deal with the dogs, horses, robo toys. They'll get whatever they want to get at the end of the day. Majority of a store is filled with women toys. What I would say, guys, is look, I've been a Chad Roan, okay? And guess what? I still live as a Chad Roan. But what I'm going to tell you is, first of all, my phone is not filled with anything. It's their phones that are filled with it. They want to do the recordings. Ask Cassie how that worked out. Diddy didn't have anything. Cassie had all the evidence on video record. So at the end of the day, women are free. Ain't nobody brainwash out here. All right? People change what they want and they desire. If you think that it was good back in the days, I always say Eve was the original feminist. She decided to get off the program from day one. So you got to call God a simp because he created a perfect word for him and she still rejected it. So at the end of the day, people choose what they want. It's not that complicated, guys. And then women just have a massive amount of control in the culture. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
Live
And
your life. Do what Doug does. How do you say WDPA? Like what would Doug do? You know what I'm saying? Like don't sign the deal. And then
yep.
you should be fine, but you'll still get Shannon Sharp in civil court cases. So that is the new divorce. Shout out to CGA.
Well,
So you
yeah,
gotta be mindful of that.
yeah, that's why you got to have the consent forms, the NDAs, because Shannon Sharp tried to get her to sign an NDA, she refused. So you just got to let that one go. That's a fish that you caught. You got to throw back in the water because if she's not on your program, that's why he got in that situation to begin with, because he was going to have her sign an NDA if you read the suit, but she didn't want to do it, and he still dealt with her anyway.
One of the best red pill sayings I've ever heard is women rewrote the social contract and the intersectional dynamics between men and women in the 20th century. And the 21st century is going to be men responding to it. Women have always been ahead socially. Men, we are reactive. Women are proactive when it comes to social dynamics. And women don't like how men are responding to the rules they wrote. Men were perfectly fine with knocking on your door and asking your dad if we could take the girl out on a date. We're perfectly fine for waiting. We're perfectly fine with waiting until marriage for sex. Women called all that patriarchy and rewrote all the rules. And now men are responding, and women in society don't like it. They're
So
pissed.
I'm gonna let Jackson go. Welcome to the show, Jackson.
Hey,
What is your thought on the topic? Who are the buyers in the current dating market, men or women? Or if you have a thought on something one of the other panelists said in the last few minutes, you're welcome to comment on that too.
gotcha. Well, I actually called in about the buyer's question.
Okay.
And what's interesting, I'll just start off so that I can land the plane more easily with my position. I think women are the buyers, and I think it's very interesting. And I was going to ask for clarification or explanation from Doug, because Doug seems to think that proposing makes men the buyers. I think we might view what proposing is slightly differently, because to me that sounds like more of a sales pitch. I've always looked at proposing as being like selling, right? Like I'm going to make you an offer in the same way. And I understand what Doug is saying about how women can only get married if men propose, but the thing is, I can only buy a car that I qualify for, right? I can only get a car that I have a good enough credit score with. I can't get a
Well,
discontinued product or something like
I'll
that, and I'm still
clarify.
the buyer, right?
I'll clarify. So when a woman is putting on makeup, getting plastic surgery, what is a woman doing? She's selling herself, right? Number one. Number one. Um, if you buy a bad car and you didn't do your research, or a bad product, right? People don't feel sorry for you because you should have did your research to not get stuck with a bad product. It's your fault. And also, if you've been divorced like me, If something happens and and it's the man's fault that the marriage ended, it's the man's fault. If something happens and it's the woman's fault, it's the man's fault. But people will always ask the man, what did you do wrong? How did it go wrong? Because when you buy a car, you are legally and ultimately responsible for that car. That's why the man is the buyer, because of the amount of responsibility placed upon him with the marriage proposal and the actual marriage.
Well, actually, I think that that analogy, to me, seems to actually underscore what I'm saying because, we have sayings like the customer is always right. The customer is definitely not always. If you've ever worked IT, you know how false that saying is. But I think that companies and people tend to sympathize more with customers than they do sellers. Now, I understand it's not, I don't think you can have an absolutely perfect airtight analogy with buyers and sellers because you're right. There are things that women do, like put on makeup, etc. But I
To
mean,
sell themselves.
sure, to sell themselves. So I wouldn't say it's purely either direction, but I think it leans heavily towards men being the sellers because what we have to do to get a woman, even a below average woman, even a woman that's slightly below average, is quite a bit harder than putting on makeup. We
But
have to
get
be in the
and marry
gym.
are two different things, though. You can get a woman, not marry her.
Well, what do you
Half
mean
the
exactly?
time, half the time, the woman doesn't even want to marry the guy.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
The half, like
Exactly.
I would say that's actually more common. That
Marriage,
I would say
marriage for
most guys would.
women.
I'd say most guys would marry their high school girlfriends or their even their
Exactly.
college girlfriends.
Yeah,
But most of
marriage
the
Yeah,
for
I
women, like,
women.
fully
they
agree
want to
with
trade up.
Brian.
They want to go to a big city and trade up. They want to go to like, they're just going to keep going. Maybe celebrities, whatever.
Yeah, marriage for women is a milestone in today's day and age. It's just a checkbox for something that they say, "Oh yeah, I was married
He's
before."
right.
It's something that validates their ego, like
Yep.
we were talking about yesterday.
I always say though we're in the great experiment when it comes to women. Women want to try on STEM. They want to try on male-dominated jobs. They want to try on being a doctor and a lawyer. If they don't like it, they reserve the right to change their minds. And marriage is like that too. Women want to try on marriage. You know what? How's it? And they reserve the right to change their minds at any given time. But
And to
still,
me,
once
that
again,
sounds a lot more like a buyer than a seller.
no.
A
But
buyer
once
saying, "I want
again,
my
they
money
can't get
back."
married unless a man initiates it. A man has to propose.
The
Yeah,
thing is,
'cause
the
I
thing
think
is,
I
I
think
you're
don't
it
even
was
think
I
that's
think if
true.
it was harder for women to get proposals, but I don't think it's that, like, I think most women have men in the friend zone or men they've dated that would have proposed. And
100%.
What
and
And
percentage
I know
of
I
women do you
know
let me
think?
just,
I know
Yeah.
someone recently that ended an engagement because he asked her to, like, to not post something on Instagram. Like,
well,
Yeah,
well,
that
and
I mean,
also,
Well,
I
like,
that's
just want,
retarded, man.
I
That's real
know.
retarded.
I know.
yeah,
What
I
percentage of
just want to
women do
make
you
another
think?
I
point too about
That's what I
proposals.
thought, but, go
What
ahead.
percentage of women do you think? Because we always talk about the women who have um who have turned down proposals from men. But if you're an attractive woman past the age of what? Look at Sadia Khan. Why
Mhm.
Sadia Khan? Women like her. Is she married?
I don't women like because she wants to be a
she
side
claims that
chick.
she is.
Well, so how many of those women have been side chicks to a guy that she wished would propose to her or have been in situationships? It goes both ways. If you're an average or an attractive woman and you've reached a certain age, you've been with guys that you want to marry or have commitment from, and they haven't committed to you.
That's
Just like how men have proposed to these women,
yeah.
um, but the bottom line is these women are still out here because a man hasn't bought them and taken them off the market yet.
No, but I still
Hold
think it's
on.
because I think they're out there because they don't want to be married.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
it's
Well,
I
it's
think
it's
so
hard
because they
for
don't
too.
want to
I
be
don't
married.
Another
They
thing
don't want to
about
be
it's
married.
Oh,
proposals.
like
oh,
if women wanted to be married, they'd hit the gym and have a low body fat percentage. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's
Leonardo, go ahead. Hold on, guys.
If women
They
wanted to be married, their schedules would be cleared. Like for the men who
Leonardo, go ahead.
go
the
ahead.
thing is they want to be married to a higher level guy than
yeah.
what's proposing to them. And whatever is proposing to them is not a high enough level because of whatever they're seeing on TV and thinking celebrities are it or whatever, which is all stupid crap.
I
And I
don't
do
get me started about
I do think this is a huge there's, you guys can sit here and point fingers, and I'm not, by the way, me saying this stuff is not letting women off the hook, because I don't think you can be a 100% adult human being and not take full responsibility for your life. Like, you have to recognize the challenges you're in, but you also have to make a choice to make your life different,
I,
And
yeah,
so let me just wrap
I
this
don't
up.
think
Let me
young
just
women.
finish this thought.
I don't think young women though that they're saying they want to be married. They want to go to college and party. Like I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah.
it's because they're like, oh, I didn't get a proposal. They're like, let's go to
Right.
University of Alabama and
So
rave.
Leonardo, go ahead. Go ahead.
let me go ahead and say, I think that has to do with a incredible cultural, psychological propaganda that's all about have fun. And you see this all the time. I see it all the fucking time. Retarded older women who have thrown their lives away will see a girl in her early 20s getting engaged and be like, oh no, girl, you don't want to do that. You want to have fun, which I think is so evil, because it's like, if you did that and it ruined your life, why do you want to ruin somebody else's? So that's one thing. The issue is, culturally, we are so far removed from having an objective moral value system that used to be based on Western values like Greek and Roman values and Christianity, which had certain values that were put forward for people to aspire to, and it was objective that, hey, these were the good things. We don't know what any of that is. All that's out the window. Forget about waiting until marriage. That's not even a value system. It's not a value system to not show yourself naked. Then you could be whatever pronoun. Hey, are you a cat? Oh, you're a cat. There's no objectivity in anything. So when that's all out of whack, people are going to make up whatever they want, and of course, because most people are retarded, they're going to pick the base instincts of, I want to, get filled, or I want to fill women, and I want these status things, and it's all because you have no guiding moral principle. And humans are evil. God told us we're evil. That's why He gave us a code to live by.
Okay.
I don't know what this girl is talking about. To be honest, I think she's just yapping a bunch of nonsense.
Wait. Who is it? Hold on.
I,
Yeah, so
go ahead.
I would just say it's not hard for women to get proposed to. It's hard for them to get proposed to by the guy they actually want. So, with that being said, I just think they are getting offers, so many offers every single day. I mean, just look at the average woman's comment section, look at her DMs. She's getting influx with, offers, presentations from men. And a lot of them are commitment offers. It's just not the guy that she actually wants. And they're waiting out for this, mythological guy who they created in their mind. That's why you got the delusion calculator, and they're all listing the same things that they want from a man. It's just something that as a guy, you can't really get around in this day and age unless you create so much value within yourself. But then you got guys who are being led astray by women like Sadia Khan, who are saying, oh, I can turn you to a high value man. I can, find a high value woman for you. So there's just so many distractions, not only for men, but for women. And they're basically not making a choice. They're just living their lives and having that fun and going with the grain instead of against it.
Jackson, did you want to finish your thought? Go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to add, and actually dovetails perfectly with what Reclaim Your Throne was just saying. The other thing about proposals is, although this is rarely done, I'll quote a line from Schoolhouse Rock. The song "Mr. Morton" is the subject of the sentence.
I
Who
remember.
says women can't propose? I mean, here's the truth. I know they very rarely do it, but most women, if they did propose, they'd have a very high acceptance rate from men who wanted to, if they were with the guy, I'm not talking about some random stranger, obviously, but they actually could do that. They don't usually, and for them, they want, they like the traditional thought of the man pursuing and that kind of thing. But I would say that's just one more way women have the power and are the buyers.
We have a new caller, Wise Warriors.
Yes,
Welcome to the
indeed.
show. So who do you think's the buyers and who do you think's the sellers? Men or women?
Well, thanks for having me. Salute to everybody. Before I answer, keep doing your thing, Pearl. I appreciate what you do.
Thank you. So what is your thoughts on the topic?
Well, nowadays, it's, women are very picky. So it's the angle that I see is that even when they may get the man that they believe that they should have or they're worthy of getting, they're gonna find a way to fumble the situation.
Yeah, I know. Then we want more. It's like you'll find everything, and then the one thing he doesn't have, you'll just look for. Go ahead.
See, so they can check off, if it's 10 boxes, they can check off 7 of the main boxes, but the 3 that they don't check off, that will get held against them. So
Yeah.
if they do have the height or the status or the money or the popularity or the fame, they might not have the wardrobe. They might not have the shoe size. They might not be able to get along with, the person's mom or dad, or they might, not want a kid or have a kid. So it'll be some other boxes that's not as significant as to the boxes that they said they was looking for. So now those 2 or 3 boxes, it
Mm,
stops the progression down the line.
yeah.
It's like a early marriage and a early honeymoon. And then when that honeymoon phase is over, they looking for another marriage just to go through another honeymoon phase.
Yeah, totally. So we have a super chat that says women will gladly be HKRO hookers, then get married and provided for. So why the F do we give what most of them say any merit? The fact is men need to take over. Well, keep dreaming because that's just never going to happen. So
It
Doug and
might
Peg, do we,
happen, Pearl. It might happen if civilization collapses and we're back to the wild, and then women are back to needing
Yeah.
protective
No,
rights
men's
and everything.
power is walking away.
Yeah.
That's what men's
Yes,
power is,
now
walking
in
away.
modern times, you're absolutely correct. Men's power is walking away. That's correct.
Go
yeah,
ahead,
I mean,
Pearl.
I had an economist on the show, and he said by the time things could turn around, I'll be like 55 to 60. So I mean, it'll
Mhm.
happen. I'll just be pretty close to dead, or maybe dead. So like,
Uh,
So yeah,
not really.
we'll go ahead and
I
peace
would.
out.
Oh, thanks for coming.
All
yeah,
right,
everything.
appreciate y'all.
Always good to have you, man. You're awesome.
Word,
Yeah,
love.
yeah.
Make sure you
I'm just gonna
subscribe
prepare.
and replay channel. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead, I'm
so
sorry.
I'm just gonna prepare for my kids to be going to school with
OnlyFans.
other kids that have OnlyFans as their with their moms. So, because that'll probably happen. So
Mhm.
sad enough.
That is dark. I do think bringing back a culture of shame could work.
If
know.
if shame worked, Bonnie Blue wouldn't exist because even the hookers are shaming her, and she's just going harder.
Yeah, but she's possessed by a demon, so
Sean shaking his head.
No, I
What do you have to
always
say,
say
Sean?
that. I always say if you go to Japan, it doesn't work. Japan has high level of shame, low out of wed births. Also, divorce is shamed. Nobody gets divorced, but women just decided, okay, if you're gonna shame me, I'm not gonna get married and I'm not gonna have kids. There you go.
I mean,
You
they want to.
shame me. You shame me for divorce. You shame me for having a baby out of wedlock. Okay, got Roger that. I won't be with men. And most Japanese women are not with men. And their culture has a problem having a birth rate and having people just meet and greet each other. So people just choose not to do it then. They'll say, I'll go to the spa, I'll have a cat, and I'll live in my apartment, and I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
Goodbye.
I
that's
mean,
not why that's going on in Japan.
Leonardo,
That's not why.
Yes, it
just
is.
look
But go
at
ahead.
Leonardo. Just look at us. I mean, we get shamed all the time for being sexist, I think you're racist, right? I'm not an insult. I just thought you said that in a tweet or
Racist,
something.
anti-Semitic,
Yeah, all that.
misogynist,
But like we just, but
everything in
we
the
just,
book.
but it doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't work, right? We just keep going. Like,
Yeah, it
Well,
doesn't
it
work at
doesn't work
all.
if people
like look
can't
at us. You
shame
know what I
you
mean? Go ahead.
if
Yeah.
you are aligned with the truth. So people call me all that shit because I say things that are inconvenient for them to hear, but I know it's the truth. So that's why it doesn't work. But shaming out of behavior that is immoral and bad for you and corruptive, yeah, that works. Japan has this low birth rate because everybody's working like 100-hour weeks. They're just nonstop working. They've been totally turned into robots. Also, I don't think you're going to have women be in a traditional role when they're in the public sphere. This is a big thing that's discussed in the church. Like, you'll hear this with the Orthodox priest being like, "Hey, the public domain is is the domain of the man, and the private domain is the domain of the woman. You cannot expect your woman to be in the public domain working and, like we are, Pearl, we're in the public domain, and also having the virtue of someone who is in the private sphere and protected. It's not going to work."
Leonardo,
But wait,
I'm gonna ask
let
you
me say something real quick.
oh,
Let me say something real quick,
Sean, real
Doug.
fast, real fast. Hold on.
Okay.
Leonardo, so I'm gonna have to ask you to come back on because Pearl is on a one-woman war against these fake TradCon influencers
Oh,
who
I'm
use their
all about
family as
that,
clout,
by the way.
who
I'm all
who
about
who
that.
who drag their husband onto social media, who tell women to be traditional, but then they have their husbands are worth $100 million, but then they can't put their YouTube channel down. They're not staying home to take care of their children. So
They're like
you need to come
married.
back on
So good,
so you and Pearl can have an honest to goodness conversation and call these broads out.
Yeah, they're
I'd
like
be I'd
Mary.
be
They're like
happy to do
Mary.
that.
I did the stats because they would always say to marry for love or whatever. And I decided I wanted to see how traditional they were statistically. And so I'm like, okay, did you have 4+ children, marry before 25? And 25, to be honest, in the old days was kind of late. So I was actually being generous. And were you hypergamous or did you marry your high school sweetheart? What was the net worth of the husbands? I did the numbers because a lot of women claim to be these things, but I'll go through the numbers of like their life choices, and they're always the same. And I found that the average net worth of a TradCon woman's husband was $4 million.
Nice.
And they're
Nice.
still out here. It's like Candace Owens and all these broads. There's no reason why they shouldn't be at home raising their children, but they're
They're
out
like,
here
yeah.
anyway.
They're like, I care about my kids, but let me post them on Twitter where there's pedophiles.
Yeah.
Do ya? And then I'm like, I think you're using your kids in your relationship for clout. And they get so mad. I'm like, you guys are just using them to like signal you're good people. Like that's it.
You're right on the money with
And
that.
then I'm like, then they get so mad at me. I never insult them. I'm just like status signaling. There it goes.
Yeah. So we'll reach out to you because Pearl actually has a model of the
No,
conservative
she's
female
coming.
influencer
She's coming in the
lifestyle.
studio, Doug.
Let's
Yeah,
go. Yeah.
she's gonna come.
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
be in
she
there.
said you're in October, right? She's
Yeah, I'll
hilarious.
be there
She's
in
a good video.
October. Yeah, I'll be happy
Awesome.
to come in. And by the way, I make no qualms about being trad or anything. My life did not go a nice route because the guy I married when I was 25 ended up being a certified con artist. So
Oh
excellent
yeah.
job.
What
Oh yeah.
happened?
He was scamming people out of money like left and right. And then I don't have to get into it, right? But anyway,
Did you get
that's why,
scammed?
in a way, yeah, I did get scammed. Totally got scammed. But you live and you learn, and then you turn into a bitter curmudgeon like I am, and you just fucking you get real bitter with people. I did make me bitter towards men. I will say that. I've got a lovely man now who's wonderful, but I
Well, remember, all you have to do is find your one, and that's what these broads don't understand. You can hate
fully
men all you
agree,
want, but all
man.
you have to do is find your one. Sean, go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah. Let me just speak straight to the men if you're listening. Look, bro. Look, people who tell you they have to be a stay-at-home wife in order to be feminine or in order for this, look, most people in the world work. Everybody works, bruv. Throughout human history, everybody has worked. Men have protected and women have bared children, but everybody works. You go to Africa, you go to Asia, you'll find women working. Everybody's surviving because throughout time, all people have struggled. Nobody has ever been home with the kids just focused on the house, right? If the husband was farming, the women's was taking the
Yeah.
products to the market to sell them. So women in the West are trying to tell you guys, well, if I was at home and I wasn't working corporate America, I wouldn't be a man. I wouldn't be masculine. I wouldn't be rude and disrespectful. None of that is true. Okay. You
And
go
it's
out there and you live in the world and touch grass, and you'll find all people have struggled. Everybody has to do provision because everybody is not multimillionaires who makes money on the stock market.
well, and
That is, go ahead, Pearl.
the crazy thing is, like, I'm all for the housewives or whatever, but nowadays there's 2 kids in public school. So once the kid's like 5, I'm like, what are you doing all day? You know what I mean? My grandma had 9. She was pregnant for a decade. So, and
Chilling, Pearl.
she even had a part-time job. She even got a part-time job after the youngest kid was like 4. And then the
They
older
just want to
kids
be
would watch.
drinking wine and taking roofies. That's what they want to do. So they want to
Ah,
convince
No,
men that they need to be that
that's
home.
no, that's what I found out is I'm like, a lot of these housewives are just lazy and they want to use their
That's it.
kids to like build their brand. And they just don't want to work. So I'm like, I'm not saying that you need to do a lot, but if your kids are at school and if you work in part-time means you guys could retire early, I don't know why you wouldn't. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
Pearl, baking bread is an all-day venture. You don't know how difficult that is to bake
sourdough
bread
bread,
from
You
scratch.
nonetheless.
know what? You know what? I learned how to make bread, and when I did it, I was like, "This is a waste of time." I was like that. I'm like, it's not that much better, and you can get a pretty good one from a bakery if you really want it, and it's not very expensive. Get that sales job at home or like the marketing. We have so many jobs where we just do nothing and make money. I'm
I'm
like,
gonna
why don't you want your guy to retire early? Do you know what I mean? Like the average guy makes like, I don't know, $60,000 a year. So if you're like a teacher, you can make 40. That's an 100K household. But
I-
who
I'm
am
gonna
I?
ask I'm gonna ask Leonardo a question. So, did you see that one Lil Tay girl where she turned 18 and she got an OnlyFans and she made like $1 million in 3 hours? Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. That was Jewish propaganda, but go ahead.
Anyway, so what? So Pearl and I have come up with a thing, especially with the get out of jail free card, because we say that church nowadays is the last stop on the horror train. All you have to do is whore yourself out, and then when you hit 25 to 28, you find Jesus and you find some church simp to marry. So I would recommend, honestly, if you were a woman that didn't want a traditional, like a traditional 9 to 5, get an OnlyFans when you're 18, make a couple of mil, and then go to the church and find yourself a church simp. I say this because
Yeah.
let's say a 18-year-old girl were to come to you and say, you know what? I don't want to work a 9 to 5 job. I kind of want to do the entertainment business, whatever, blah, blah. And she would ask for life advice. How would you recommend she chart her life out?
Oh boy, the last thing I would do is tell anybody to get into the entertainment business. Um, I don't know, man. I would probably ask her to really find some actual skills that she had that the world could use, which are going to be very hard to find for most people and specifically most women, and then focus on that instead of what everybody's doing. But they're not going to listen to me. They're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to do what the culture's saying. So there's no point.
No,
And
I mean, but her skill is, throwing ass. It's the
well,
Poodandy.
then
So
you need
Ah,
to
that's
ah,
get a
ah,
like,
husband
ah,
who
ah.
wants you to throw some ass.
hey, look
Throw
at
it. That is, it says that in the Bible. It says God created marriage so that human beings could direct their lust impulses into a structure where it wouldn't be so damaging to
here
them.
we go. Here we go. Let me just share you. If you want to think that nobody will marry you as long as you stay hot, you can end up like Riley Reid. I would say she has an above average husband. I would say he's above average in looks.
Oh,
He looks like he's
show.
like you can't see the
Yeah,
screen.
this is crazy to me when I see stuff like
Mhm.
this. Where look, and I'm not here. I don't want to ever say
Oh,
condemn
here,
anyone. That's
here
not
we
my
go.
job. But
Here we go.
when I see shit where like chicks who did shit like this get a good husband, I'm like, what the hell? Like, what kind of message are the men sending? That's like, hey, yeah, you could do all that, and somebody will still marry you and have a kid with you.
Like I would say Nala Ray's husband is conventionally attractive and above average,
Show her.
Yeah, so here,
Her
share
husband.
this. I'm about to share this tab instead. Oh wait, hold on. Let me do. Yeah. I mean, I would say that's like a conventionally oh my gosh, I don't know what they're trying to do here. But I would say that's like a conventionally attractive guy. I would
Or
say that's better than a lot of women can do.
or show
So
her show her the woman that actually got into the church, Brittany Lamora. Remember
she's
her and
fantastic. Yeah.
her pastor husband? Yeah.
Um,
She's
yeah,
like, go ahead.
yeah, so why wouldn't she make $1 million? Just say sorry after. You could still get the marriage. You can actually get clout being super holy, and you can get a bunch of attention. Like you can get all these good person points because apparently, according to the Christians, it's better to actually. They give you a microphone more if you messed up your life and then came back instead of the
Yeah, but
people that never.
this is not a real repentance, man. I don't understand how people are falling for this. Like, you go look at these stories. Go look at these stories of like, there's Saint Mary of Egypt, who is one of the famous, like, before she became a Christian, one of the famous hoes. And when she repented, I mean, she went into the desert and lived on locusts and honey, and didn't see anyone until a monk came in. I mean, that's a repentance. So if these girls were like, hey, I'm going to give every single dollar that I made to some charity that tells girls don't do this. And then they, like you said, I saw your interview with that other one, Pearl. If you said, well, you went to the back of the church and you shut your mouth and you didn't talk. Yeah. Yeah. I would believe you then. I would believe you then. But
What you I'm gonna ask you, Luke, because we got asked this multiple times. Let's say, okay, let's say a woman was on OnlyFans, did corn and stuff, and was 27 years old and wanted to put it all behind her. What criteria would she have to meet, and for how long for you to believe that she was a changed woman? Because I wouldn't ever believe her, but if I had to say criteria, I would say she'd have to be brought into the church by a man of God, right? They'd have to be married for 10 to 15 years. She'd have to have 3 of his kids and no whoring for at least 10 to 15 years.
yeah,
What would your
it's a
criteria be?
it's a 10-year minimum. But again, Saint Mary of Egypt never married again. She took the monastic vows because she knew she was so broken in that area. And there was another guy on here, Roosh V, who was a pickup artist, and he had a whole awakening, and you could see the change in him. I mean, this is not a scam he's running. His whole face is different, and he's pretty much, I think he was online, everything. He deleted all his socials, once he came to a certain point, deleted all his socials. And the last I heard, he was pursuing the monastic life. I mean, that's actually like a real repentance. You realize, like, hey, I damaged for something when you go that far, right? When you go so far in one direction, the repentance is going to be really far in the other direction, not some mild thing like Nala still making cooking shows that are basically porn.
Do you think that Nala and all these women should give all that money back?
Yeah, 100%.
Ah,
100%. If you did that and you really repented and you really feel like, God, what have I done to you? Because that's really what repentance means, is what you've done to God. That sorrow and grief, yeah, you'd give all that back.
I like the 10-year minimum. I think that's good because, and the other thing is, I always wonder why the Christian guys are so willing, especially the women. They'll like embrace these porn stars. And I'm like, do you want these former porn stars next to your husbands? Like, you know, they can.
Because they're hot.
They're a Google search away, and these women are predators. They've learned how to manipulate men for like. I'm like, I don't want him next to my boyfriend. Get the back of the church, bitch. You know what I mean? Go
I thought
ahead.
you were saying why the men embrace them. I'm like, the men
No,
embrace
no,
them because
no.
they're hot, and these men would never have had access to these women, so they're like, sweet, fucking, I found a bargain, you know.
Yeah, it's like this car. It's like a sports car that's got a really, really high mileage, but it still runs like decently well. So they're like, "Oh, this is good. This is a bargain. This is pretty
Yeah,
good."
100%, 100%. Which I'm like, what the, you guys don't have a right to complain about the state of women's morality when you're endorsing this shit.
Yeah, I mean, sex-starved men, they'll accept a lot. They really will. There's
Yeah,
nothing.
because I think the biggest grift is the whore to church pipeline right now. And Pearl said it the best the other day. With the amount of women under 30 on OnlyFans, isn't there like 1.2 million
Yeah,
girls under 30
under
that are
25,
under
actually.
25? That is gonna explode in the next 5 to 10 years. That is the biggest grift right now, is the church to whore pipeline.
I can't wait till Body Blue joins.
Oh, you know it's happening, dude. You know what's happening.
Hey, welcome
Hey
to the
guys,
show.
I'm gonna have to get out of here. My man just got home and
Oh,
he's
you're
Yeah.
fine. Thanks so much for coming. We do these a lot, so I'll send them to you. And if you ever want to hop on, feel free.
All
Okay.
right, cool.
Yes.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
You're
See ya.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Maestro. Am I saying that right? Maestro.
Maestro.
Okay. Welcome to the show. So, what is your thought on the topic? Oh my gosh. Did I not put the W in women in the title? How did no one tell me this?
I'll
Guys.
fix it.
Okay. All right. Are men or women the buyers in the marriage market? What are your thoughts?
So to answer your question, yeah, I thought it said omen, so I was kind of confused at first for a little bit.
Guys, what? Nobody tell me this.
This is a movie, but to answer your question, yeah, I think that
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, to your point, Pearl, yeah, I think that that right now in the market that men are the buyers. I look at the market. I coined it. It's tricking or acquisition.
Okay.
Those are the two ways that women are making their money.
Okay.
That's at least 90% of the ways women are making their money today. Only 10% are probably actually earning it outside of tricking or acquisition.
Okay.
And so to answer your question, yes, I think that men are the buyers in the marriage market. I think a lot of the points that some of the other panelists had spoke on today made some sense, but there was some contradiction.
Okay, keep going.
As well that I heard. But I'm not saying that anybody didn't make any good points or I'm judging
That's
anybody.
okay. Just tell me the contradictions. It's cool, but
no qualifiers. Go for it.
Go ahead. I actually felt bad because I was hoping I'd have more people. Felt like it was Doug versus everybody, so I'm kind of happy.
Bring it on. Let's go.
Go ahead.
I'll be in general. I won't be specific.
Okay.
I have never been married, and I know that's a big part of how your position is making sure that people stand on what they do and who they are. So, and I respect that.
It's okay. It's just give me your opinion, okay?
Yeah, no qualifiers, man.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Okay, yeah.
Give me the contradictions. Go ahead.
No, people keep bringing up the Bible. I think that's one of the biggest contradictions that I hear. People keep bringing up the Bible, quoting scripture, using these terminologies when it comes to making their points. However, I would say 90% of these people who say this, and I was born in the Christian upbringing as well and believing, so I understand that none of them are holy. None of them follow any of the stuff that the Bible talked about, teaches, or anything like that. But it's just very convenient how we can bring this up in the conversation. And that's probably one of the biggest contradictions I've been hearing today is using Bible.
Okay, but I meant like on the argument earlier. Why do you think that what's your argument for men being the buyers and women being the sellers? Because most people that were on thought that women were the actual buyers and men were the sellers. So what's your argument for that?
going back to the point that I said at the beginning, the tricking or acquisition. Well, if women are tricking and they're acquiring, then somebody's got to be buying something. The market has to be selling. So when I say that men are the buyers and women are the ones who are selling, I'm saying that we as men are buying up the BS. I don't know if I can curse or whatever the case is, but we buying up the BS. It's happening right now. Defending, then we're making excuses.
Okay. Osmosis, what are your thoughts? Are men or women the buyers or the sellers?
Okay, well, usually it's a male body that gives energy and material. About the stuff I want to talk about nature and stuff, some research I've been doing. For one thing,
Okay, we got to stay on topic. So if you can,
okay,
just make sure
I
to
keep
stay
saying
on topic.
females are the buyers because it's a male body. That might be why women just naturally want sex from men. Actually, there are some benefits in mood and stuff. In fact, there's actually more the opposite. She was talking about women being brainwashed to want men. Actually, seen the opposite. Again, there's supposed to be like 3 sex strikes already before 4B over Trump's election, over Kavanaugh appointment, over the Dobbs decision. All those sex strikes failed within a month. Thanks.
Okay.
Hello?
Sorry. Yeah. Hey, Jay, why don't you go? Sorry.
I was going to say, I think that women are the buyers for a wedding and the party and like maybe some functions where like they need to show up with their husband or whatever to like look good. Like women are the buyers for the appearance of marriage and for things that come with it like that. Men are the buyers for what they think a lifestyle of marriage would be. Like having, a doting wife and like, like the old traditional marriage. Like I think men are the buyers of that while women are the buyers of the party. Like that's why women, once they get the lifestyle, they're the first ones that figure out, oh wait, this isn't something I want, or he's not something I want. Let's call a divorce or something like that. Like they're the ones that are pushing it, and then they're the ones that push divorce. So they pretty much buy the wedding and then sell the marriage.
Cool. What do you think, Sean?
Hey, Sean, what's up,
Yeah,
buddy?
welcome back. Great caller.
Hey.
Called in a lot.
Sean? Sean? Okay. He must have went off somewhere. But yeah, I'll just go back to what I'm saying. When you get my age, there's a lot of women that want to be married, but men are not marrying them. And I know plenty of women that are desperate for marriage, desperate, and they stay in situationships for
What's your age? You said your age. I don't know what your age is. When you
mid-40s, mid-40s.
Okay.
Listen to me. So what I'm saying is, and once again, even when a woman chooses to settle for a simp, she'll divorce him and she'll be back out here saying, I'm not going to settle again. I'm going to be single for the rest of my life until a man of substance proposes to me.
And even I would also argue, even when the man of substance proposes, we got examples of this in society all the time. Like our Tom Brady and like almost every single high earning person that's would be considered like in the NBA or in a major like 4 sports in America and Europe. Any of those guys are like considered like what I would think would be considered a high value man, and they're all getting divorced. So everyone is screwed.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would still say that women are the buyers because I don't think most men even have the option to buy. And I think most women have like 10 buyers lined up, to be honest, even at an old age. I think most of the women, I think there's revealed stated preferences versus revealed preferences. So like, for example, people say that they want to lose weight, but they won't eat less or go to the gym. I think women that say they want to get married might say that, but if you've ever seen a woman that really wants to get married, she's going on like 10 Hinge dates a week and it's like a mission. You know what I like?
But she can't get married unless a guy proposes.
Yeah, but it still goes back to if she wanted to get married, she'd lose weight, and she would do actions to get married. And yeah, I just think most women can get married.
I also think that she can't get married unless the guy proposes isn't exactly accurate with it being the 20th century. There are a very minorities percentage of women willing to like
less than 10%,
actually propose
less than
themselves,
10%.
and there are a
already looked
whole
it up.
shitload of simp men out there who would be like, "Yeah, I like that shit."
You gotta let him
Less than
finish, Doug, when
10%.
he's making
Sorry,
it. Yeah, like it's
less
it's
than
okay.
10%
But
of
just
women
try to-
propose. Go ahead.
I was saying like about the propose like the not because he like interrupted me. Like I forget what we were arguing about now. Like I forget the point I was.
Well, it does happen. I'll try to moderate, but
Yeah.
it happens.
The proposal only being one-sided. Okay, yeah. Like in the 20th century, like with these simp men and these now like boss women out there are actually women who will be like, yeah, I'll propose, or like, you know, like they'll force a guy to get him to propose or whatever. And that's pretty much proving he's a simp, but it works a lot of these times in this day and age or whatever.
Yeah,
Don't give the guy be like, if you don't propose, I'm out of here. And then instead of being the guy who would actually get control of it and being like, well, fine, leave.
Yeah.
Most of the guys are going to be simps and actually be like, yeah, okay.
More men are just going to do it. Like I've seen it. I mean, you could argue maybe the second time around men learn, but first time around, I would say 75% of the first time marriages, the woman nagged him into doing it and he did it.
I would also say
they live where she wants to live. They go to school, like the kids go to school where she wants. Like it's just so obvious. Most women have the power in relationships.
I was just gonna also say that when it comes.
This is a good super chat. This is a good one. It's a stalemate. If women were a business model, they'd be selling a car no one can afford in a neighborhood where they need trucks. They price themselves out of the market and are going bankrupt. That might be the best one.
It says
I know, I just read it.
Data from 2017 to 2024 shows figures ranging from less than 1 to 2% of women proposing to men in current marriages. Statistically insignificant. Sorry.
Well, I think it almost proves that women don't want to be married.
Yeah, but that also doesn't take into account the times that they were forced into it. Like instead of like you didn't propose to me, but like the woman was like, when you gonna propose? When you gonna propose? And the proposal came strictly because of the woman nagging him to do it.
Yeah,
like that's another.
I know. I know. Like, I'm thinking of 3 people right now, top of my head. Those guys did not want to be married or have kids.
Who?
But they currently are. I'm not going to tell you who they are. They're people I know personally. Like, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that to them. That'd be embarrassing for them, you know. But I'm like, they did not want to be married or have kids. But you know, she was persistent. One of them said he would never, and she just kept nagging.
Quick question: are you saying that women are because they're spending? Did I hear you correctly?
No, I'm saying I think women are the buyers because women always have more men that are willing to propose than men that have women that want to marry them. I don't think most men have a lot of women that you could argue that maybe 10% of men have choice in who they marry. I think most men kind of just take what they can get. So therefore women are the buyers. So you could argue, I see the argument that men actually have to get on their knee. And I would say that would stand true if men held frame and could say no to women in their relationships. I think that maybe is developed in the second half of life for men. But at least with first time marriages, no. Women.
I was just to say, I don't think MGTOW and red pill men exist until they get screwed over. Like I agree. I don't think that mentality comes if the first woman you actually get with was like a miracle that was actually a good girl and was like, you know, loyal and not leaving you and not giving you like if that happened, and it was a good relationship, I don't think you get to red pill. I think red pill people are the men that got screwed over so much that they harden themselves or something.
You don't take the red pill orally; it gets shoved up your ass.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you know what? I know men personally where I just know they're gonna get screwed, right? These are personally. I'll give them the book. I'll be like, hey, you know, you should research the divorce laws. I said this to a really close relative of mine, and literally, he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna research that. Like,
I love her, man. She's
I'm
not like all the rest of them, man.
And you know, I actually really like the woman. I really do like her, but you know, I know the numbers, so I'm like, are you sure you don't want to look into it? No. Well, good luck. See ya. Like, you know.
So are we saying? So are you saying? I just want to clarify, because I do see that men are. So we know that men are having to spend more to even get the attention, to even get into that position for there to be even marriage. How are women still the buyers in this market?
Well, because I think most
men are
men,
simps.
I don't think most men qualify for marriage for women. I think more women reject men for marriage than men reject women. Like, I think most women, like what I see is women, especially in their 20s, even early 30s. I mean, they have like starter boyfriends. Like, I think most guys would have married their high school or college girlfriend. And then the women are like, no.
But Pearl,
I also think that doesn't work out either. Like, I think that gets you
wouldn't you
screwed
agree
over
that all
too.
those women, if they're 5 or 6, they've encountered men in their 20s, where they wish the guy would have committed to them in a serious way and or married them, but they freaking dug him out and left them?
Yeah,
remember,
yes,
alpha widows and women are getting dug out.
Yeah, I agree. But if they really wanted to, they would move on and bang somebody else.
But also, I think
I mean, because you have to understand, women right now, you can download a dating app even at like 35 and have 5,000 matches. Now, you could go on 10 dates a week if you wanted. It's so like men don't have that choice. And you could argue, oh well, they'll use them for sex, but it's like, yeah, but out of like 5,000 matches, there's a good percentage.
I just think that your and our biggest contention is the meaning of buy. So like I think that you're grouping in sex and dealing with the man with buying, but like a man doesn't like when something is bought, it's taken off the market permanently. That's what I'm saying.
Well, then marriage can't do that anyway.
Yeah, marriage can't.
Hold on a second. Hold on, please. Jesus. What I'm saying is about what buying means. In my opinion of buying, you take something off the market, and a woman has to sell herself to be taken off the market by a man. That's all I'm saying. And only a man can do that. That's all.
I think off the market because divorce exists.
Well, I think, yeah, that's true. The divorce exists, but I think more men are selling themselves to women than women selling themselves to men. If women were selling themselves, 30% wouldn't have an OnlyFans. They would be overweight. But I look at the men and they're like in shape guys, usually have something going for themselves. Like, I know there's this notion that like most men are you got to stop interrupting the host. Okay, Jay.
Right.
So, I know there's this notion that like men are losers or whatever. Like I always hear that from like certain sections of the red pill, but it's just not what I see. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I also think the dynamic is messed up because in order for a man to actually be a womanizer, that takes effort on his part. That takes looking good. That takes talking the right way. That takes always being smooth and suave to the woman. Like, there's a whole lot of shit you have to do to be a Chad or Tyrone, but to be a chick that gets laid a lot, that's pretty much nothing you have to do but be a chick.
Well, and the other thing too is even these days, I mean, women sleep with men and don't want commitment. Like these days it's like I'll talk to guys and they'll tell me their problem is the women will bang them, but they won't stick around. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is crazy.
So so I just want to get some clarity because you
Yeah.
had said, did you say women were selling? You said our men were selling.
No, I think that, well, I said I could be swayed, but from my perspective, I thought the arguments were stronger that came in earlier. And I think that men or women are the buyers and men are the sellers. That's what I think. Yeah. Because most men don't have that much choice. You could argue like 10% of men maybe are, but I would say over 50% of men, no, they're the sellers.
I mean, and I would also argue if you're like, let's say you're great in one area that would make you attractive to women, like let's say you're a billionaire, like Bill Gates is still not a ladies' man or whatever. Like you can make yourself attractive in one of the ways that would make you a high value man. And if you don't have all the other things, you're still not quite there, even though your wealth or whatever would put you there. So I actually think it's just harder in life in general to be a man and like in social settings in general or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good discussion regardless. Sean, are you there? I was really hoping to hear from you. So,
who's the other?
Yeah,
Profile picture says it all.
I don't know. He calls in a lot. I just thought he'd have a really good take on this. So it's too bad. But you're welcome to give your final thoughts. Oh my gosh. I'm bad with names and pronunciation. So it's not you, it's me. Maestro. Sorry. Maestro. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I guess my final thoughts. I was just trying to get clarity. And to your point, I appreciate you and all the work that you've done for over these last few years. But in terms of the sellers, I just wanted to make sure that we were clear because, like the other person said, I think we were having maybe a confusion on the word buying versus the selling part. But I would argue that to your point, okay, how can men be able to sell when they ain't really got ish to sell? If you're saying that they can't buy, well, they ain't really got much to sell either. I mean, if I know the market, then you got to have something that's valuable that can be in demand. And if it's the top 20% of men that are being actually gained by these women, what are the rest of the 80% selling at that point?
Well, I'd say there's men that like they could still provide for a woman and they're decent looking, but it's just not enough. It's just that's what I would say. Like, there's one guy I'm thinking of in particular where it's like, he's got a good job, but it's just the women don't stick around. He probably would have married his last girlfriend. She left. He probably would have married the girlfriend before that. She also left. It's like, what's he supposed to, it just doesn't seem like he's a buyer to me, they just keep going. Seems like that's what I would say, but I'm open to hearing another point of view. So if you have a response to that, feel free to go ahead.
I
was talking to him. Go ahead.
I would say that as your point, I definitely can understand that it can go either way. My goal was just to get clarity. And then in terms of the buyer versus selling, I think it's one of those things where oftentimes we conflate the actual the relationship market and the marriage market. And then you as an entrepreneur, a business owner yourself, how the demand really works, how suppliers really work. Mm-hmm. And I think oftentimes most people don't actually pound for pound equal like are able to correlate the two worlds because they're different, but they're very similar. So that's why I asked you that question. If men don't really have much value to offer, what the heck are they selling to these women that would get them to want to buy anyway? And that's why I go back to my point. I think women are the buyers because they actually have something to actually purchase with.
Oh yeah,
the purchasing power. If that makes any sense. If that makes sense.
Good point. Sean, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yay! Okay, now you're back.
Sorry
Okay.
about that. Having some headset problems. Yeah, I was gonna say when men want children, they're definitely the buyers. But to your point, I don't think they have much choice in general. So it's like as soon as they can get one girl for a relationship that can act right, and she starts pushing marriage more and more, most men are gonna sign up for it. And the way you know that is, Jay Cutler, after getting cashed out by his ex-wife, is now engaged, right? So that shows you these guys will go into the same BS again and again just to keep one good girl around for as long as possible. So I think in today's day and age, I think the reason why guys do join the red pill is just because, like, they get screwed over by a girl and then they start Googling, why are these girls flaking on us? Why are they doing this, that, and the other? And that's when they discover a lot of this content. But, I think guys are going to get lonely at a certain point and they're going to meet a girl who starts acting right in their eyes. And sure enough, they're going to get married again and again. I think that's just how things are going to play out.
And then she'll switch up.
Yeah, I mean, and I think most guys just need to have a healthy expectation for, relationships and or marriage, is that it's going to last as long as it lasts. And that's it. So, as many good years you can get with that girl for as long as that lasts, that's what you're getting. And it could be 1 year, it could be 5, it could be 10, but eventually it'll all come to an end and you'll have to move on. And I think if they can accept that reality, I think maybe most men won't be as bitter about the red pill as maybe a lot of the guys online are.
Yeah. And she'll try to ruin your life on the way out.
Pretty much.
Sorry, fellas. Well, thanks, guys. This was such a good Doug MPA. This is a great choice. Doug MPA told me to make this the topic today, so we should give him a little round of applause for the topic selection, because I think this is my favorite show we've done in a while. So good job, Doug MPA.
You're welcome.
Do you have any final thoughts that you want to add?
I got nothing.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for calling in. I think I'm going to end it at that. So thanks for calling in, guys. Cool. Well, I'm guessing you still stand on, you're still team men are the buyers, huh?
I got nothing.
No? Okay. Okay, well, all right, guys, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also go to theaudacitynetwork.com. That's theaudacitynetwork.com. And sign up for the memberships and like the video. Thanks for all the super chats today, guys. Like the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.